Darkspine Sonic and Darkspine Shadow united to destroy planet Earth, becoming supreme beings in Sonic 4, the movie. Sonic stood at the top of the One World Trade Center, the tallest building in New York, gazing downward. His piercing eyes revealed anger, frustration, and rage. Closing his eyes, Sonic recalled the vision he had 3 weeks earlier, in which he saw everything destroyed by two hedgehogs with an intimidating appearance he had never seen before. Since then, he had not been able to sleep. Instead, he spent his time training relentlessly until the day that vision would come true. From so many hours of lifting weights, his body had become immensely powerful. At that instant, feeling a surge of energy from the summit of the Trade Center, Sonic clenched his fists, charging them with chaos energy. Then, without hesitation, he hurled himself from the building at full speed. From the government's orbital surveillance station, Shadow gazed down at Earth with an intrigued expression. 3 weeks earlier, he too had experienced the same vision as Sonic, and now he was feeling exactly what Sonic felt. Sonic sensed an immense power concentrating on Earth, and preparing himself, he focused all of his chaos energy into his feet to run at ultra speed. He dashed forward at a velocity that warped reality itself, racing through the streets of New York until he reached the outskirts of the city. Meanwhile, aboard the orbital station, Shadow did the same. Holding a Chaos Emerald in his hand, he drew upon its power and then launched himself from space toward Earth. And Sonic and Shadow were right about the strange power, for there was Eggman preparing his Chaos Particle Accelerator cannon. As Sonic arrived at the site, Eggman fired it before Sonic could even see, generating catastrophic devastation in which Sonic surely should have died if not for Tails, who opened a ring portal right in front of him at the very last millisecond. Now Sonic found himself alongside Knuckles and Tails atop a plane flying over the site of the explosion, and together they sent you this message: special subscribe. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails then sprinted forward and leapt from the plane, diving straight down to the scene. Upon landing, they looked upward with worried expressions. They could not believe their eyes. Everything that had once been New York City was now devastated, more than 70% reduced to ruins. Sonic continued running to find the one responsible for all of this, and after being stunned, looking around desperately to identify the enemy, he found someone. It was Shadow the Hedgehog. Believing Shadow to be the culprit, Sonic, consumed by rage, clenched his fist and shouted, "You traitor!" But Shadow, for his part, also believed that Sonic was the cause of all this. He prepared for battle, for ever since the previous fight and his redemption, Shadow had served as protector of Earth and guardian of the Master Emerald against any threat, under direct surveillance by the United States government. This was exactly the moment Robotnik had been waiting for. Exploiting Sonic's fury, he fired the Chaos Particle Accelerator at him, causing Sonic to crash to the ground, gravely wounded, and above all, his rage multiplying uncontrollably due to the acceleration of his chaos energy. Shadow looked upward and saw the formation of an eclipse, immediately realizing that something terribly wrong was about to happen. And indeed, Shadow was also shot from behind by Eggman with the same accelerator, falling to his knees. This was the semi-final step of Eggman's plan. Placing a golden ring beside Sonic as bait, Eggman tricked him. Sonic, believing it to be one of his usual rings, took it to use for transporting himself toward Shadow to stop him. But this was no ordinary ring. It was a world ring that Robotnik had stolen from the planet of the 1001 Nights. The dark energy of Dark Gaia overflowed within it. The effect of this energy, combined with Sonic's uncontrollable rage fueled by the accelerator, caused a transformation the moment Sonic touched it. Dozens of rings instantly surrounded him, orbiting his body. As they merged into him, a massive shockwave of Dark Gaia's energy erupted. And, in spectacular fashion, Darkspine Sonic was born. In spectacular fashion, Darkspine Sonic was born. But this was not the worst part, for without hesitation, Shadow advanced towards Sonic to attack him. The moment Shadow laid a finger on Sonic, his body suddenly began to mutate. His fingers started to change color, and the same dark energy that had transformed Sonic into Darkspine Sonic now began to possess Shadow. His black fur shifted into a mixture of red and pink, while his red stripes turned white, with new ones appearing across his forehead. and thus, Darkspine Shadow was born.
Hey you! Don't forget subscribe!
Please subscribe to our channel!
Subscribe now!
But now the problem was no longer Sonic or Shadow. After transforming into Darkspine, they were on the same side. Darkspine Sonic grabbed Tails by the neck and flew at incredible speed, smashing him against a mountain and causing a massive explosion upon impact. Meanwhile, Darkspine Shadow seized Knuckles by the leg and slammed him into the ground over and over, just like Hulk did to Loki. In the midst of their pain and desperation, Tails and Knuckles tried to reason with Sonic and Shadow, speaking to them, but they would not listen. It was as if they were hypnotized, and indeed, Eggman was now the one commanding them. After defeating Knuckles and Tails, Eggman shouted loudly, "Attend to your leader!" Standing tall and putting them on guard, Eggman ordered, "Destroy everything until it is reduced to ashes, and let all bow before me." And with that command, Darkspine Sonic and Darkspine Shadow shot off at full speed to devastate the entirety of the United States. After a few minutes, Eggman had already become the supreme ruler not only of the United States, but of the entire planet Earth. Yet, even though Darkspine was being controlled by Eggman, within him a persistent voice pleaded, "Please, Tails, do what I told you." Sonic had foreseen everything that was happening now in the vision he had 3 weeks earlier, though he did not realize that the evil hedgehogs he saw were actually himself and Shadow. With the information he had gathered, he had given Tails the data to prepare a one-shot artifact, designed so that at least one of the hedgehogs could regain self-control. When Tails fired it at Sonic, pupils suddenly appeared in his eyes. Darkspine Sonic now had control over himself. But there was still one more enemy. Darkspine Shadow continued his rampage under Eggman's control. Now that Sonic had regained control of his own body, he launched himself toward Darkspine Shadow, initiating the final battle. Yet there was a problem. No matter how many blows Sonic delivered, Shadow seemed to feel no pain at all. He was like a soulless machine. In contrast, every strike Shadow landed against Sonic was 5 times stronger than Sonic's own. This was the difference between fighting with control and fighting with ruthless abandon, as Shadow did. Realizing this, Sonic turned to Tails and said, "I won't be able to defeat him like this. The remaining energy in the weapon isn't enough to bring Shadow back to his senses, but at least it's enough to make me lose control again. Shoot me. And Knuckles, if you see there's no turning back, I entrust you to finish me." And when Tails fired, Darkspine Sonic once again lost control, now wielding a power that far surpassed Darkspine Shadow's. With a devastating combination of kicks and punches, Darkspine Sonic seized Darkspine Shadow by the neck, leaving him breathless and on the verge of losing his life. At that moment, Tails had an idea. He picked up the World Ring lying on the ground, the very ring that had given Sonic his transformation, and handed it to Knuckles. Using his strength, Knuckles hurled it towards Sonic and Shadow. As the ring reached them, both lost their transformations, collapsing almost powerless, but regaining control of themselves. But what was truly brilliant had just begun. Sonic and Shadow had lost their transformations, but by touching the World Ring and experiencing a surge of adrenaline at that very moment, Darkspine Tails and Darkspine Knuckles were transformed. Now, they carried the mission of finishing off Sonic and Shadow. Remember, this video is nothing more than a theory created by me, with much love and with the sole purpose of entertaining you. If you want to know what will happen with Sonic and Shadow now facing the fearsome Darkspine Tails and Darkspine Knuckles, comment the word "I want a second part," and soon I will bring it to you.